David Carter founded the Sports Business Group in 1999 after spending more than 10 years consulting for the sports and entertainment industries. And today he's here to talk about the marketing lessons of the sports world and how you can use them to improve your business. Welcome to Making It, David.
Thank you.
You've taught companies that the things that work in the sports world really work well for your businesses. How do you translate it?
Well, they really do. If you really think about how you run a business successfully, you have to master things like employee relations. You have to master customer service. You have to be able to build a brand. And the list goes on and on. You have to find out how to handle a crisis, maybe how to penetrate foreign markets. And so I think the way sports has handled that over the years has quite a few lessons to teach so-called everyday business people, even small business people, when they're getting up and running. And I think a great example of that in the sports space is somebody like David Stern, the commissioner of the National Basketball Association.
What do some of the things that your book says to do with larger businesses to copy the sports world? How can you translate that to smaller businesses?
Well, I think, again, if you take a look at the commissioner of the NBA, David Stern came into really a fledgling, failing business at that point in the 80s. He had some real problems with players, meaning employees. He had some real problems with franchises being upside down, meaning money problems. And a lot of people experience that early in their business careers. They take over a business or they get a job and they get there and they say, oh my God, what am I going to do now? This place is a mess. I think that happened to a certain extent to David Stern. What he did is he went in and said, wait a minute, I need to have great relations with my athletes. I have to understand that my employees are my personalities. I have to be able to sell them. And if I can sell them and I can rehabilitate the league, then I can get out there and maybe bring in sponsors, negotiate bigger TV contracts. And over time, what has he done? He's built a great entertainment product. And I think that's very similar to small businesses. You have to get in there and you think to yourself, what are my assets? What are my shortcomings? How do I leverage the positive pieces of it? And how do I jettison the parts that just don't work? And that's why I see someone like David Stern over the last 20 years really building a global brand in the NBA, and there's a lot of that to be learned from small businesses as well.
But why sports? What is it about sports that makes it so easily translated into a business environment? What is it that makes the sports motif the thing that you want to follow when you're trying to build a successful business?
Well, I don't know that you necessarily want to follow it when you're building a successful business, but what I do know is that so many people are using sports as metaphors, and they're using sports as examples in the workplace. And I think it's pretty easy then to link people's love affair with the sports industry, with their emotional attachment to sports, and say, wait a minute, maybe I can learn from a George Steinbrenner, the owner of the Yankees. Maybe I can learn from the way the NFL markets itself. And the way I look at it, it's sort of like hiding the pill in the apple. You get a chance to learn a lot about business from sports, and at that point, if you follow the right lessons, you're likely to succeed.
Do you see a lot of opportunity as well in the sports arena itself, in the marketing of sports-related items?
Yes, I do. I think what's interesting about the marketing of sports merchandise these days is you really have to appreciate that there are two types of fans. There are corporate fans, and then there are the everyday fans. And the licensing and the merchandising going to the fans directly, sale of shirts and other memorabilia, is really at an all-time high. It's just off the charts. And again, with eBay and other situations out there to buy product, it's a great marketplace for that. And so, again, I think there's an opportunity for smaller entrepreneurs to get out there, but they're immediately swimming with a lot of sharks. It's a very competitive industry.
And they're swimming right outside the stadium when you come out after the game and they want to sell you all sorts of things. But there are only certain people who have a license to do it for the big teams, right? How do you get that?
Well, that's right. You know, you see a lot of knockoff product. If you walk outside Staples Center, you're outside any other sports venue, you see a lot of the knockoff product. You might see it at the end of a freeway off-ramp. Most of that's not sanctioned by the league, and you can tell. The official league merchandise, you have to pay a premium for that to acquire a league license. You have to really fulfill on a lot of contractual obligations in order to be able to make and market merchandise for the leagues, and it's costly. But if you do it right, you can make a ton of money doing it. The problem is, for a small business, it can be very cost prohibitive to pay a licensing fee of 8, 10, 12% to a sports league, whereas perhaps you can find a more novel way to not avoid paying that licensing fee, but maybe you can market product that doesn't require that official license.
Demographics, they've got to matter in this too, don't they?
They really do. I think demographics are huge. I mean, think about the emergence of things like the X Games, a property almost created to help sell to young people. And if you look at what's going on in arenas, most of the people in arenas these days are corporate people. Most of the people on the couches are the everyday fans, and how you market, how you sell merchandise to them is very different.
David, this is good stuff. We have to leave it right there.
Thank you.
David Carter, thanks for joining us. And we'll tell you how you can reach David Carter right after this.